Please. What's poppin', internet? Welcome to another episode of the Synced Up Filmcast, a show where we reel you into movie news and talk about the things that we've been watching. Really, we should change that intro because now we just rank Disney movies, I feel like.
Well, we reel you into Disney movies.
We reel you into the Disney movies that we're watching. Today I'm joined by Jordan, who was here last week, actually. Mike,
sir.
you know, he's pressed at work. You know, he got some. It's like a very busy week at work, so he couldn't be home and he couldn't finish Robinhood in time. So I'm gonna go ahead and me and Jordan are gonna go ahead and talk about and rank the Aristocats and Robinhood, and then we'll readjust them next week when Mike gets here to give where he thinks they should be placed.
Yes, sir.
So they'll be temporarily placed for now. Also, if you are listening and watching this and wondering why there wasn't an episode of the general Synced Up podcast yesterday, that is because the fact it moved. I seen it. That is because the fact that when we went to record the episode, our power surged, and it caused us to corrupt the file, and so we waited a few hours to re-record the episode. We were in the reader mail. We were like 40 minutes in, and it went out, and then we went to do it a second time. We got back to reader mail again, and it went out again, and the file corrupted again, so we couldn't go for the trip.
Maybe it was just a question that was asked.
I don't know, but it's so hard already enough to go ahead and like re-record a podcast and try to be genuine and not just feel like, okay, let's make sure we just hit the same points because those were good points, but also got to fake my enthusiasm. Yeah. And it just feels like you're lying, and it's not fun. So we couldn't do it a third time, so we decided we weren't going to do an episode this week. But we got one of the movie pod, and we'll be back to the regular podcast next week. We'll go ahead and catch y'all up on the Game Pass Club.
2 weeks for the pod.
It's been
some flip flops.
It did do some flip flops. I had something for the post show, but we could bring that up actually while in between. But before we actually talk about the Disney shit, a little bit of housekeeping for you. If you enjoy this show, you should consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/syncedup, where for $1 you can get access to our lovely Discord, where most of the time we just play Clash of Clans now.
We're having a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, the Discord is.
I like the Discord.
It feels like just a little hangout.
Yeah, I know. We've always vibing in there, talking about stuff.
There's always good conversations. Like if you're a sports guy, there's always sports stuff. Movie guy, film guy. Anime does get some screen time. If you're a pet guy, there's pet stuff.
Tabletop stuff.
Honestly,
talk about chess
for $1.
Yep.
It's like you're paying $1 for friends.
You should get in. It's just $1, and you automatically got people that'll talk to you because there's not a ton of people in there. So if you pay $1 and get in, we're going to talk to you. Or for $5, you can get that and access to both the post shows that we do each week, all from youtube.com/synceduppodcast and podcasting services around the globe. Also, new episodes of this show specifically go up in both of those feeds, all of those feeds, Tuesdays, 7 a.m. Central Time Zone gang. Also, you can write into the show to synceduppod@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns, and we may read them on the show. The Reader Mail Submissions tab of the Discord also works. It's a little easier of access rather than emailing something in. You should also consider following us on Twitter @synceduppod to keep up to date with all of our content from across the board. Now, you know, this is a rough week. We're recording at a weird time. Jordan subbed in. I forgot to print the doc. There was no episode yesterday.
Some flip-flops.
Weird week. So I'm going to be reading from my phone. So sorry to your visual listeners. It doesn't look as good as the paper, but that's all I got for you, okay?
I got nothing left.
So let's get into these Disney movies.
Banger week, dude.
So let's start her off with the plot. So this week we got Aristocats and Robinhood. Classics. So let's start her off with the plot to Aristocats before we start talking about my personal notes. I know you watched a little bit of the in there with us. Did you watch Robinhood?
Yes, that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, so you watched both of those, so we're going to talk about those in depth. But let's talk about Aristocats here. Both of these movies were Disney movies that I missed, so I've personally never seen either of them.
Really?
Yeah, so this is the first time I've watched both of them, so this is fresh ranking for me.
I'm interested to see what you think of these.
Yeah. So starting off in Aristocats, it pops up with the lady in the horse cart and the cats popping up. You're like, oh, you get we're in France in 1910. And then George, the old guy, shows up singing some stuff. Classic, you know, he's like the lawyer or whatever to write the will. Then, you know, we're dancing. In the room, I put here, boy got them thick glasses. That's the lawyer. Yeah, he got them Hubble telescopes, of course. And then she decides to write in her will that she's going to leave the estate to her kittens that we've been introduced to, which is it's Duchess Tuvalu.
But what is it? Bart.
Marie.
I can't pronounce his name.
Marie and the other guy, I can't remember.
Starts with a B. I've never been able to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's a weird pronunciation. And then so she's gonna leave the estate to the cats. Edgar, of course, the butler, overhears this and is like, "What?" So he decides, "I'm gonna murder them cats." But he doesn't murder them cats. He puts them to sleep, which comes up in a second. But before that, you get a little bit of character development with the cats. You have the one cat painting a picture. I think that's the one that starts with a B. No, that's Toulouse that's painting the picture. And he paints. I can't remember.
That makes me wonder if their names are references to like French iconic figures.
Maybe. I don't know. They're all French names.
Which should be cool.
And then you get the music lesson with the other guy and the girl who's singing. Sing your. What is it? How does the song go? Your Pelagios?
Pelagio?
Hit your notes in your Pelagios? Is it Pelagios? I can't remember.
There's a lot of music in that movie.
Yeah, there is. Get the music lesson. Then Edgar shows up, gives them some creme de la Edgar or whatever to put them to sleep.
Creme de la Roofie.
Yep. And then the mouse shows up. You know, you get the introduction of the mouse.
You have to like mouses in these movies.
Yeah. That mouse is the voice actor for Winnie the Pooh, which is worth noting.
So that guy is getting
paid
dollars from these.
Honestly, when you look at all these old movies, the bear is also in this movie. I can't remember who he plays, but when you look at these movies, especially these early Disney movies, I guess maybe it's a product of the fact that there's not a ton of voice actors back in the day, because like the bear dude is in like 7 Disney movies. He plays 2 bears.
He plays Little John in Robin
he
Hood.
plays the bear in Robin Hood, so he plays like a bunch of shit. So I guess maybe this is because there's not a lot of voice actors.
He does have a good bear voice.
Yeah, he does have a good bear voice. Then he flies the motorcycle down to some backwoods ass place to get rid of the cats while they're asleep. The 2 dogs show up.
Yep.
To get him. I'm the leader. Pretty good.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's the same voice actor, but I do love that they kept the voice style the same for the Hound as they did from Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah,
like it shows you that there's some.
And I'm pretty sure that honestly, with that farm and that bridge, I think it's the stuff from 101 Dalmatians.
I think they're recycling here.
I can't because I put the Cats Wake Up under the 101 Dalmatians bridge. Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of recycling going on. That'll come up in the next movie as well. Mm-hmm. But the dogs steal the motorcycle, crash that shit.
Love it.
That was a funny scene. Madam discovers that her cats are missing. Then the mice holds it down, immediately throws on a coat, and is like, I gotta go get the ass, and he leaves.
I just want to know why all the animals are naked except for the mice.
I don't know.
And the mice dripping.
I know. Yeah, he had the nice coat and a nice hat. Then the alley cat shows up. Mm-hmm. This is Thomas O'Malley. He sings singing the song that Thomas O'Malley, Giuseppe, whatever the fuck thing.
His name is long.
Yeah, it's a very long name. Then he gets rejected by old girl.
Classic.
You know, he tries to shoot a shot. She doesn't take the bait. Then he gets him a ride on a flying carpet, which ends up just being a car, of course.
Love it though. I do love that.
Yeah, to get them back to their home. And then Edgar ends up talking to the horse because he doesn't realize that animals can understand humans in this universe. He tells the horse, I stole the cats. I'm the cat napper. And he doesn't realize that. Then you get the scene where you get the Stand By Me scene where they're on the train tracks and they're playing train. And then honestly, one of the most, in terms of when you look at a movie and you see something coming at you or something like that, it usually takes way longer than it actually would in the movie. But watching this, that was a realistic speed that train came. As soon as it pops up, that shit is automatically there. It hits so fast.
Oh, man.
Marie falls in the water. So O'Malley has to save her. He ends up saving her, but he can't really swim very well himself. Then the geese, this is where you get the introduction of the geese twins who show up to help O'Malley out of the water.
Great. I love them.
Then they join the gang. And they're like, we're going to go to the thing. And then this is where you meet drunk Uncle Waldo, which is a very funny character.
I love him.
Very, very funny character. And then they go ahead and off and do their own thing. Then the mouse talks to the horse. He's going to follow Edgar because Edgar discovers, oh, I actually left some of my shit there. And they're gonna
know it's me.
They're gonna know it's me, so I gotta go. So the mouse jumps on the motorcycle, but he ends up flying off extremely quickly. Then I put Edgar comes back trying to get what he left at the crime scene, and the dogs have his stuff. They're wearing the hat and stuff. Then you have the little scene where he's like, stop taking my hat.
I really love the dog.
Yeah, so do I. He tries to fish it back, and then one of the funniest lines in the movie where he was like, "You're not gonna believe what that sound is. It's a one-wheeled haystack," and then it turns over and it's him on the wheel. And I was like, "That's very funny. That's very funny." Then you get the introduction to Scat Cat and the gang.
Oh, dude, gang.
Yeah, of course.
They hold it down.
The "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat" song, which is quite good.
That song, honestly, might be in some of like the top 10 arguments for best Disney songs.
It's a really good song. And then I put here, this is of course where you got another disclaimer here.
Yep. Aggressive
Asian insensitivity with more Siamese.
Not a good choice.
Siamese cats. Super slitted eyes, and the lyrics of the song being it's like something egg foo young, fortune cookie never wrong, or some shit like that. I don't know. It's very, very insensitive, but those were the times, and we got these disclaimers that they force you to read at the very beginning of these movies, so that's the best you can do, I suppose. Then O'Malley tries to wife up Duchess, hey, I like your pad and all that stuff.
I gotta admit, Duchess though, she really a good mama here. Mm-hmm. Like she not falling for it. She playing it safe.
Yep.
All about the kids.
Yep.
But O'Malley, he takes it in stride.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. Then they make it back to the cribbo. They're meowing at the door, and then Edgar puts them in the bag, throws them in the oven, locks them up, and then
you said the oven?
Yeah, it's a wooden stove.
I thought it was a foot locker, like a chest.
Nah, it's like a wooden. It's like one of those stoves that's like metal. You put the shit because it has one of the vents because the mouse talks through the vent.
Oh, true.
Yeah. So they throw him in the oven. Mouse has to clutch it out and get O'Malley to send him to the alley cats, and he's like, it's O'Connell, it's O'Connor, it's whoever, So
O'Malley cat.
Yeah, exactly. And then Edgar puts them in a trunk to send them to Timbuktu.
That's what it was.
Africa. We're gonna send him to Timbuktu. Then the alley cats roll up to help O'Malley. Get straight bus on a man.
Gang, they show up
so fast to get his ass.
Which, speaking of recycled assets, the way they run is they definitely reuse that later in Lion King. It looks like the exact same run.
There's a lot of recycling. Then Edgar actually gets sent to Timbuktu. The lock miraculously appears on the trunk.
We're not going to talk about that.
It's okay. And then O'Malley joins the gang, and Madame starts an alley cat home. We're going to turn my house into the home for all the alley cats. Then I got a couple of notes that I put here. Disney still doesn't seem to have a fully distinct art style, of course, and there's I put lots of early experimentation. There's very similar but very distinct styles in the majority of these early movies, where every time you've seen 101 Dalmatians, you're like, oh, this is like sketchbook style, and as every movie progresses, it's like, oh, a little different, different. And I think it's not Disney doesn't really hit their stride until you get to like the era of like Aladdin and that stuff, and then it's all very similar, and then you get to the era
very connected.
Yeah, and then once we hit the 3D era, the very beginning of the 3D era is very similar, and then you get into the modern era of they all look pretty much the same, and I don't know really where we can go from there. I put 90% sure it was the dog and the bridge from 101 Dalmatians when he drops off the cats, because it seemed like the same little hound dog, the same bridge, and the farm. It was all, I don't know, it was all it's all too close. I don't know, man. And then I put this, I don't remember when this first started, but as of this point, I've noticed that it's been a couple of movies since we got an LSD trip scene.
I guess you kind of get one with the everyone wants to be a cat with all the colors, the jazz at the end. You kind of get one.
I guess so.
It's the same feeling.
Yeah. It's not as intense, but yeah, I guess it's kind of the same thing. So that's Aristocats. Fielding writes in for Aristocats here. Creme de la Edgar. This is my first time watching this movie as an adult. I remember really wanting to eat the cracker that Monsieur Roquefort the mouse had in the beginning of the movie. He got to be my favorite character. From trekking through storms to picking locks, he's always coming in clutch. I really like the movie, apart from the offensive impression in the middle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. So of course, I agree. The mouse does come in clutch. That's some of the exact wording that I use. Lucas has some thoughts as well. I love this movie. The charm of nearly every character is dumbfounding. The music is amazing at every turn. Love the scat cat piece. And although the art style had to grow on me, I really liked it at the end, especially when they did interesting things with the colors. All of the random characters like the dogs, geese, etc. were all very well voiced, and their bits were hilarious. Nearly a perfect movie aside from the very racist depiction of the Chinese cat.
So I mean, I think that's probably a pretty common mindset that the movie's great and you could take out that racist part and it would be perfect.
Yeah.
For a Disney movie, it just hits it checks every box. It's just great.
Yeah, I agree. So go ahead and pull up the rankings. You got the mouse because it won't work on my side of the table.
Well, it's not working on my side of the table.
It's going to work eventually.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It is technical difficulties. You work with what you can work with.
We're here. We're not here.
Maybe. There we go. There we go. Go to click pod 2.
I can't see over.
There we go. Boom.
There's a camera.
So now you got to go to the other. You got to go to the other. Oh man. There we go.
Okay, see, we're getting.
So now we're looking at the list here and where we want to slot Aristocrats. I'm not going to list the whole list off because it's starting to get a bit fat and that's getting a little bit redundant. But personally, I put Aristocats at number 2. I think Aristocrats is not quite as good as 100 Dalmatians in terms of my enjoyment of the movie.
Okay.
I loved 101 Dalmatians very, very much. But I do like Aristocats, and I think it's definitely better than all the rest of the movies. Easily, it just becomes really close when I start talking about 101 Dalmatians.
I think 2 is also a good spot. I personally would put it at 1. Mm-hmm. I'm also biased. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's better than 101 Dalmatians. I think Mike also might agree that it's better.
We'll slot it at 2.
I'm
but
okay to put it for 2.
Yeah, go ahead and throw it at 2. And I'm 90% sure that when Mike comes to talk, it'll be an even split, and we'll have to divert to Fielding's list, which will, of course, put this.
Locked out right now?
which will of course put Aristocats at number 1. But as for this week, Aristocats is going to be slotted at number 2 in between 101 Dalmatians and Cinderella, and we'll see where it ends up landing next week. But now let's talk about Robin Hood, the second film of this week.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I love this movie.
Yeah, Robin Hood is quite good. So, I got here. Let's go through the plot, of course. Shot at he. These things happen. So Robin Hood notes here. We're gonna start with
Please, thank you.
The plot. Of course, we have no old reviews for this because that's usually Mike's job, and he's not here, so we're not doing that this week. But that's perfectly okay. But let's talk about the plot. So, introduction to the film, with all the animals. At the very beginning, Robin Hood as a fox and yada. Yeah, great. Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest right at the beginning, talking about, robbing from the poor. Are we the good guys? Are we the bad guys?
You rob the rich to feed the poor.
Exactly. Then the snake and the cat marching through the forest talking about taxes. Let's tax the people, rob the poor to eat the poor.
Rob the poor to feed the rich.
Yeah, rob the poor to feed the rich, something like that. I put here the return of the mesmerizing snake from Jungle Book. He had the same. Let's hypnotize the man.
Sir Hiss.
Yep, of course. And then the boys pretend to be fortune tellers and straight rob the king. They pretend to be female fortune tellers, end up stealing everything the king has at that point.
Love it.
Then you go to Nottingham. They're starving to death because of taxes, of course. Then the Sheriff of Nottingham, where the iconic board game that we play a lot. I guess the namesake of I didn't realize that. I had never realized that because I had never seen this movie.
It, yeah.
So seeing that, I was like, oh, he's the Sheriff of Nottingham.
It's great.
Yeah, and I play that board game a lot. So Sheriff of Nottingham, the tax collector, he takes from the broken leg guy's cast by beating on his cast.
And that's when you get the iconic, the flip and he catches in the cup.
Yep. Tink. And then you have he takes the kid's birthday present.
Yep.
Straight robs his coin. But then Robin Hood shows up with some stuff, saves the day, gives him a bow and arrow, gives him a hat to kind of save the birthday a little bit. Then the kid ends up shooting the arrow into Prince John's backyard when they're playing.
Love it.
And then they do their don't tattletale chant. It's like a something in a lizard head. If I tattletale, I'll die till I'm dead, which is pretty good.
Which is the kid version of saying "Don't snitch."
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Don't snitch.
It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Then they go in. You get a couple of nobles playing badminton, which you learn are Clucky and then I can't remember. Oh, Miriam, the love interest of Robin Hood. Of course, they're playing badminton. The kids meet them, and Robin Hood, which is Robin Hood's ex, and the rabbit pretends to be Robin Hood. I'm Robin Hood. And then they pretend. She pretends to be a damsel in distress. They do all the stuff. Play. Oh, gotta give me a kiss. Oh, they're kissing and all that stuff. Very fun stuff. Very fun stuff. Then you realize that she still loves Robin Hood. It's not just like an old fling. Like she still loves him very, very much. And then cut to him, and he still loves her as well. You realize that they're kind of star-crossed lovers in a sense, of course. Then you get the archery tournament, and there's a kiss from Miriam for the winner. So he's gonna. He
ain't finna lose.
Yeah, right? He's not finna lose. So he goes to the archery tournament dressed as a stork
because he's not allowed to be there.
Yeah, he's not allowed to be there. Yeah, so he dresses as a stork to try to get in there. So
that scene animated very well.
Yeah, it's fun,
and also just a fun scene.
Yeah, it's a fun scene.
Splitting the arrows.
You realize it's a complete plan by the king to get Robin Hood out in the open to try to capture him in public. Then the bear pretends to be a noble to get in the royal box. The snake gets a little suspicious, but the bear's not playing around. Johnny doesn't play around. Then the snake makes a balloon helicopter, which I thought was very funny.
It's so cool.
Where he blows air into the balloon to get it to float, and then uses his tail to fly around like a helicopter. Super, super fun. But the boys, what's his name? The preacher, I can't remember his name. Friar Tuck, and then just the other, the rooster.
What are they called?
They're the narrator rooster guy.
Are they the Lost Boys? They're not the Lost Boys. Or something like that.
I don't know. But they capture the snake, shove him in a barrel of ale. Before he can go rat to Prince John, that the stork actually is Robin Hood. Robin Hood is captured by the king because he ends up finding out anyway when he goes to kiss the king's fingers or whatever after winning the competition. Gets captured. He's gonna execute them immediately. But then the bear puts a knife to the king and he's like, "Hey, release my boy." He decides, "Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and release him." But that ends up not working because the sheriff comes around the corner, and then it starts an entire brawl, and they got to fight their way out. And he asks Miriam to marry him on the way out of that fight. Yeah. So let's just keep fighting, and a lot of stuff. Stampede of rhinos destroy all kinds of shit all over the fairgrounds. All kinds of destruction. Even Clucky gets in some action. You get a weird animation sequence where she's running away from the camera, which is like reminiscent of like old SNES games.
Yeah.
Like old what's the game is Contra and stuff like that. Like weird stuff where the camera was like weird, but it was really fun. And then you get everyone busts out. Long live King Richard, down with Prince John. And then you get the John the Worst song that they end up creating, and everyone sings it. You know, even the sheriff. It becomes a hit song, and because of that, John taxes the shit out of everyone even more because of the song, and they start starving even more and hating their life even more. Sheriff walks around getting more and more money. He robs the poor box, which is there for people who don't have any money. Yep. And the preacher says, "You know what? Fuck you, dude." And he tries to fight him, but that doesn't work. Sheriff goes ahead and captures him, puts him in jail, puts almost everybody in jail. The king is still unhappy, though, because Robin Hood isn't arrested. And you get the scene where the snake is trying to cheer him up, and he's like, "Hey, man, come on." But it doesn't end up working because Robin Hood isn't arrested yet. Friar Tuck is going to get hung, and it's a trap to get Robin Hood again. Yep. So we're gonna hang Friar Tuck. So Robin Hood pretends to be the blind beggar again to get into the castle to save Friar Tuck. Of course, because you don't want Friar Tuck to die. I mean, come on.
He's one of the homies.
Exactly. Then it's a jailbreak, boys. We're busting out.
We're busting out.
Yeah, gotta get everybody out of the jail. We do the whole thing, and then you know what? We can't just get everybody out of the jail. We have to go into the king's castle, create a pulley system to steal him all of his gold.
Which I mean, honestly, if you're gonna break your homies out of jail, go big or go home.
Yeah.
It's either a win or a fail here, you know.
Yep. So let's take out all the gold, but then they end up getting caught, and it turns into a chase out of the castle. Everyone's running. Robin Hood actually ends up getting caught on top of the castle there, and it's on fire, and he has to jump into the water
with the sword fight with the king.
Yep. Ding ding ding. Jumps into the water. Then there are a bunch of arrows go flying at him. He jumps into the water. He gets clipped. Psych. He didn't get clipped. It was just his hat, and he used a little snorkel thing to get away. And then he pops up as long live King Richard, all that stuff that they say. Then cut to King Richard coming back. Everybody who's bad goes to jail. So the prince, the snake, those guys, they go to jail. King Richard comes back. Robin marries Miriam. I got an outlaw for an in-law joke, all that type of stuff. They ride off into the distance. The rabbit goes with them, and the end of the movie. Couple of notes I put here. First Disney movie that shows all the characters and who they're voiced by at the same time. In the beginning, it was like, oh, this person is playing the fox.
Which is like a classic, like almost like a 90s like sitcom show kind of thing. Where like you get like the...
Yeah, it was exactly like that. That was very fun.
I love it.
And I put, did the bear play the bear again? He did. And then I put here, Disney definitely be recycling. Yeah. Because they definitely be recycling.
So I love Aristocats, but I think Robin Hood has more of like a space in my memory. Like when you think about Robin Hood, I can think of every scene perfectly. Yeah. And some stuff I like about this movie is I think every animal that's a character represents the character's personality perfectly.
Yeah, pretty well.
You have the king who's really a coward. He's a cowardly lion. Nice little callback to Wizard of Oz there. Yeah. Little John, he's always been described as a bear of a man. So it's a bear. Shots. Robin Hood, slick, clever, sly as a fox, is really good. I also really like the setting of the. It's a very small area they work with here.
There's not a lot going on,
but there's so much.
The fairgrounds, the castle, and the forest,
really.
And that's about it.
They're going hard.
Yeah.
I love this movie. This movie's great.
Fielding got some thoughts here. First off, Roger Miller as the narrator is fantastic. He's got such a fitting voice for this movie. All the characters are great apart from the trumpeteers and the king's entourage. I enjoyed the music and animation. The part where Sir Hiss is flying around inside of a balloon and using his tail as a propeller is always cool. My favorite thus far. I agree for all of these points, and I do think the narrator, even singing his songs, I was like, oh yeah, that's smooth.
With the little guitar.
Yeah. I really like that. So go ahead and bring up the list. We can go ahead and rank this in.
There's something about birds playing guitars in movies that I love.
You have to go to the other desktop.
Oh yeah, the feathers on the strings. It's just a nice aesthetic.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I think I speak for everybody. I probably speak for Mike as well, depending once he watches this movie. I think it's the best one so far. Yeah, I think it goes in the one spot. It's very enjoyable. It's very fun the whole way through. It doesn't ever lull at any points. I was a little distracted in the movie because I was playing Scrabble at the same time. Got my shit rocked because of that. But I still think it's the best movie thus far in terms of just. It didn't feel like some of these Disney movies I've got to where I've like paused and been like, bro, how much is left?
Yeah. Robin Hood's really not like that.
I didn't have that. It was very fun. Very fun the whole time. The characters are great. All the character interactions are great. Again, the narrator is good. The love story between them is good or whatever.
That love story is one of those ones that it doesn't feel forced. Like it feels very natural.
And I think all the jokes hit.
Oh yeah,
they're fantastic. You get all the jokes. I think the majority of them, if not all of them, hit.
Some
definitely.
Of those jokes. Now I know this is a classic Disney thing to do, but some of those jokes are definitely over a kid's head. But they're still funny to a kid.
And I just think all the side characters in this one great. Clucky, great. Friar Tuck, great. The Turtle Kid, great. The the raccoons, the little raccoons. Yeah, great. Love that.
Even though he's a villain, Sir Hiss as a character,
pretty good.
He's so good.
Yeah, exactly. And I like it.
This is not my favorite Disney movie. Definitely top maybe 5.
Yeah,
I love this movie. And I wonder if it's the story flows so much better because they, as far as the original Robin Hood legend goes, they didn't really change much.
Nah,
they just took it, put animals in it, made a Disney movie, made it fun,
and then did Zootopia later. Kind of have the same vibe.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's it for the list. The list is as follows: Robin Hood, 101 Dalmatians, Aristocats, Cinderella, Lady and the Tramp, Jungle Book, Sword in the Stone, Pinocchio, Alice in Wonderland, Sleeping Beauty, Bambi, Peter Pan, Dumbo, and Snow White. Is the list thus follows. That's 14 movies. This next week, we will be watching. I know one of them is The Fox and the Hound.
I know you're excited for that.
I am very excited for that one because that shit's classic. So we got The Rescuers, which is another one that I missed. So this will be the first time I watched The Rescuers. And then The Fox and the Hound.
Here's the problem with The Rescuers. I know I have seen it, and I remember nothing. Not a single thing. I remember the little scene where they're in the boat.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, we'll see when we go ahead and rank this next week. So The Rescuers followed by The Fox and the Hound for this week's Disney ranking movies, and then we'll be at 16. Some stuff to look forward to in the future. After that, Black Cauldron, Great Mouse Detective. I haven't seen either of those.
I've seen them.
Couldn't
say anything about
then
them.
You get Oliver and Company, and then we hit number 20, The Little Mermaid, and that's when we start the great era.
That's when
Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback, Hercules, Mulan, Tarzan, Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis. Like, we start to get into some really good shit.
I think, unfortunately for this list,
it's going to all shift. I think there might be a couple. It remains to be seen with some of these other ones like Great Mouse Detective, Oliver and Company, The Rescuers, stuff that I haven't seen before. Maybe like Dinosaur.
I love Dinosaur.
I've never seen it, so I couldn't tell you. I don't think Mulan holds up that well, but a lot of people really love it.
I also love Mulan.
I think maybe a couple of these might slot under Robin Hood and the Aristocats, but I don't think any of them go below Cinderella or Lady and the Tramp.
I bet you. I think even the ones that don't hit as hard as some of the others on that list still hit above these. Yeah. I think Robin Hood is going to be hard to beat. I think Robin Hood's hard to beat even into the later years.
Yeah.
It's just very well made. I think it's one of the best made. For as far as the original legend goes, because Disney when they take a movie, they take the legend a lot of times and change it. Like the Little Mermaid,
just a little bit. Yeah,
they completely flip that around.
Yeah,
but like Robin Hood is like very accurate to the original legend. I think that gives it a lot of points.
Yeah. All right, so that's the list. And get excited. Once again, that's The Rescuers and Fox and the Hound, total brain fart for next week. Now it's time to talk about the news. The only thing we really had for news this week is that Emma Stone is coming back for Cruella 2.
Love it.
A movie I didn't expect to be made, but I'm honestly not opposed to.
I don't know.
I enjoyed the first. Did you watch Cruella?
Yeah, I did end up watching it.
I liked it.
I really enjoyed it as well. And I'm not really surprised they got it too because like I think Maleficent's another one of those where people saw the first one.
Oh yeah, I guess it did get the second one.
And it got a sequel.
The second one kind of flopped though.
Yeah, I don't know if the second one flopped because of the storyline. I think the storyline and the effects and the movie itself were all really cool. I think that one flopped because there was a lack of information there.
Yeah,
like the first movie, you get a lot of backstory, you get a lot of things that make the movie connect. And you're
I don't know what they're gonna do for 2.
Yeah,
do they make her a villain because then the movie isn't as good? I don't think.
And that's the same thing as in Maleficent 2. It was like, okay, cool, we understand why you do the things you do in Sleeping Beauty. The second movie. What's happening? Like,
I know.
Like how we get here? Why are we here? This is just another love story, and we don't need that from you, Maleficent. Unfortunately, it's not even your love story.
I'm definitely with that. So that's it for the news this week. Not much. I didn't look for any trailers. Again, it's a weird ass week. Things are weird this week, so we don't have that. And also, it's just difficult for us to fucking do that right now.
Yeah, we are working the best we can do right now.
Yeah, as you can see on the video version, I got a phone. There's a mouse and a keyboard, and everything's kind of chaotic.
The cups are all messed up right now. It's just we're just going through it this week.
Just go ahead and slide this over here.
We're going through it. We're going through it this week. We can try to center this up a little bit. Oh, okay, that's a little bit better.
A little bit better.
God, we're mirrored. I don't know what I'm doing. Here we go.
There we go. But now it's time to talk about the things we've been watching.
What have you been watching?
So I watched a fuck ton because I was quarantined, of course, because I got exposed to COVIDs. Turns out got the double neg, no COVID for me, which is great. So let's talk about the things I've been watching. So I watched more iCarly, of course, still rating, classic. Yep. The season finale for Dave came.
Okay.
I guess won't have a lot to say because I'll wait to talk about it with Mike.
But that should definitely be a Mike conversation.
I guess what I'm going to say, and Mike will probably mirror it next week if he doesn't watch this episode, is that I don't think I can recommend Dave to anyone.
Okay.
But Great show, probably one of the best I've seen this year.
I think I haven't seen the whole thing. Obviously, I've seen the 1 or 2 episodes I watched with you guys.
Yeah,
I think that holds up as an advice. Like that show, I couldn't tell you.
I think you would like it because you're like into hip hop and you're into that type of stuff. I think you might get it, but it's very hard for me to like look at the show and be like, okay, you should definitely watch Dave. You should definitely watch Dave because I don't know. Me and Mike are so high on it, and Chance is like quite low on it. It's kind of weird.
Some of the stuff that I've seen in the episodes, like I saw the episode. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I saw the episode where Homeboy goes, kapoof, where's he at? What's happening? He got snatched.
Yeah.
Some of those topics are like very like you feel physically uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. A lot of those.
And I think that's very unreal for me in watching a show where I'm sitting there and watching it. And I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like, This is not fun. This is not. I don't like this.
It's a weird show.
But the fact that they can give you that feeling so viscerally, you're just like, the show is incredible. It's great. So I think I will end up watching it.
It's great. Edge of Tomorrow. I watched that. Rewatched Edge of Tomorrow.
The movie with Tom Cruise
and Emily Blunt.
With the
Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
that
I guess
trope's gotta go.
Spoiler for but this movie does it so well. Spoilers for Edge of Tomorrow. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay. Spoilers for Edge of Tomorrow. If you haven't seen it, it came out years and years and years ago. You really shouldn't be worried about it. But Edge of Tomorrow, man, what a good ass movie. I think. Mm-hmm. I think this movie is like a masterpiece. If I'm
really,
yes, I think this movie's great.
Okay.
I only have one qualm with this movie, so I think this movie is structured perfectly. Mm-hmm. I think the acting is great. I think the writing, except for this one thing, is perfect. I think the concept is kind of a little bit highbrow, but they execute it well. Just the idea of like, oh, there's these weird aliens, and like one of them has the power to control time, and that's why we can't beat them. And like the reason I was able to get the power to control time is because I got their blood in me, and then now they want to take my blood. Like there's just a weird shit. They don't explain too much, but you understand enough. And then like portraying the story not in linear fashion, just like popping up, and you're like, oh damn, we finally made it kind of far in this damn loop. Mm-hmm. Like holy shit, like what are they gonna do now? They've never made it here before. But then you realize you're actually viewing it the 80th time that he's made it to this point. Yeah. It's only the first time that you've made it here, but he's been here plenty of times, right? So just a lot of stuff like that. The action is great. Just the whole premise is cool. Storming a beach type of thing is always great. It's always cool.
It's definitely cool. The movie's cool to watch.
Yeah,
because like the action scenes are pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I mean, let's be honest here. Tom Cruise, he's getting kind of old.
Yeah,
but he could do an action role.
Yeah,
he can do an action role pretty well.
And of course, gotta love Emily Blunt. But there's one qualm that I have with this movie. It's kind of just like a plot hole thing. So maybe it's nitpicky. You can say there's a scene at the end when they finally solve what's going on and how they're going to beat it. We're going to go here. We need to get a team to go here, but I can't go back in time anymore because I don't have the blood. But we're gonna go here and we get one shot at this to beat this thing, and we're all gonna go here and do it. We're going to go AWOL, and that's what we're going to do because everyone's going to go on the beach and die, but I can't go back in time to save it. Like, nobody knows that.
This is the final shot.
Yeah, and nobody knows that if we don't, when we go to this beach and we send everyone, they kill everyone, and then they take over the rest of the world, right? So we're going to go here and do this. And there's a scene in the parking garage after that when Tom Cruise gets injured, and Emily Blunt is there, and they're the last two. Everyone else had died to get them there. And he's like, I'm going to go distract him. You take the grenades to the Omega to blow it up. And she's like, no, I'm going to distract him because you wouldn't even make it 5 feet. You're injured. You just crawl over there, throw in the grenades, do that, right? And then she kisses him. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
So your qualm here is that this is just a random love thrown in there?
Yes, because it's not random love thrown in there from his perspective. If he had kissed her, made sense. But she kissed him, right? From her perspective, she met him 5 hours ago.
So you're saying that because she loses her memory every time.
Yeah, she loses her memory. She doesn't know the loops. He knows the loops. So he is in love with her, knows everything about her. She met him 5 hours ago. And she still like kisses him and does this thing. And I was like, that don't make no. If they would have had him kiss her, it would have made more sense.
Now, let me raise you this question. What if it was not I'm kissing you because I'm in love with you kiss? What if it's you're almost guaranteed to die? You could get a kiss real quick before you die. Or maybe she thought she was going to die. She just wanted a kiss before she died.
I don't know. But that's the only qualm I have. But other than that, I think this movie is great.
I'm going to call up Emily Blunt and ask her. I got her on speed dial.
I watched a bunch more stuff. I watched Beware the Slender Man, which is a documentary about, now this is going to be a little grotesque, trigger warning here, 2 12-year-old girls who take their 12-year-old friend into a cornfield and stab her 9 times to sacrifice her to Slender Man.
Did she die?
No, she lived. She crawled to the street in a bicycler, found her, took her to the hospital, and then she ratted out her friends. And then her friends, one of them is actually out of jail now. But that shit, when you watch that documentary, bro, I was like, what the fuck?
Did she know that they were doing this, or they just do it?
they took her out there and she didn't realize what was going to happen. And then like she had realized what was going to happen, but she kind of like, you don't know what the fuck to do. Right. And then so it was like a thing where the two girls were just like, we're going to do this for Slender or whatever. Like Slender Man's going to kill all our family and we have to kill you. And it was just like crazy.
And so she was just like, okay.
No, she wasn't okay, but she's okay now. Yeah, she's okay now.
Physically okay now.
Physically okay now. Physically okay. I'm sure she has a plethora of fucking trust issues and all kinds of shit now.
That's unfortunate.
But that shit, watch that documentary. I was like, wow, that's just crazy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When you said beware Slender Man, I did not expect you to talk about humans.
Yeah, no, it's just a documentary about a real event that happened.
People have problems. I
rewatched Undone. I don't know if you've seen Undone.
I have not.
Undone is a Amazon Prime original show. It's 8 episodes. Each episode is 20 minutes long. Okay. It has the guy from Better Call Saul. I don't remember his name.
Okay.
You know the lawyer from Breaking Bad?
Yes.
And then it has the girl who plays Alita Battle Angel.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a weird.
She's a real person.
It's a weird cartoonish rotoscope. It's like they filmed it and then drew over the frames.
Okay, I can see that.
It's animated very weird. It took me a while to get past the art style, but if you can get past the art style, this show is fan-fucking-tastic. It's a masterpiece. The premise of the show, a little bit mild spoilers for episode 1. I won't spoil it anymore. The premise of the show is this girl has a life that's not that great. She ends up getting in a car accident, and she starts to see her dead dad, who tells her she has the power to travel through time and mess with things because of like her Native American thing. And she finds out, her dad is like, oh, I'm dead, but this is me. And you can see me because you have this ability. It just activated when you got in the car crash. And then the journey over those 8 episodes and the conclusion that thing arrives at the very end of like, oh man, is great.
Okay.
I watched it with Adriana. I rewatched it because season 2 was in the works. I personally think this is a show that I think I guess they can write it and it could be good because I thought a Last of Us 2 would make Last of Us 1 a worse game. I think a season 2 would make season 1 kind of ass just because of the nature of the season, and you finish it, it's like, if you do a season 2, like this doesn't really work in the way that it should. But if they could do it right, it's great. But I rewatched it because Adriana had never seen it, and I wanted to rewatch it ahead of season 2 coming out possibly this year or next year. Fair. But I recommend this show to everyone. It's great. Okay. It's a fantastic show. If you're into like time travel type stuff, weird shit going on, it's really good. And just the art style itself will kind of make you make you feel a little artsy because you're like, I'm watching something weird and unique. Okay. I don't know. Then I rewatched A Beautiful Mind.
Okay, I've seen that.
Classic.
I've seen that.
Classic. That's Still hits. I realized as an adult, the plot twist that the guy's actually just psychotic isn't that much of a twist.
Yeah.
As a kid, I remember watching that and being like, oh, it was all fake. But as an adult, I was like, oh, I mean, it was just there's like, and all this implication up until that point. It's like, yeah, no shit, it was all
executed.
Fake. And I thought maybe when it hit, Adriana would be like, what? But it hit, and she was like, okay. I was like, shit, yeah, she's seen it coming too because it's obviously implied up into that point, especially in the beginning when he like sees all the weird flashy colors and they go into. You're just like, yeah, this guy has schizophrenia, like it's obvious. I don't know why, but true story, really good movie. That actor kills it. It's great. Then of course that's an early Vision. Who plays Vision?
Oh my God.
Jesus. Vision.
We should know that off the top of our heads.
Vision.
Paul Bettany,
thank you. I was losing my shit.
I couldn't get there.
Yeah, so that's an early one of those.
Sorry about that, Paul. If you ever see
Then Castle in the Sky, the Miyazaki movie. It's Adriana's favorite movie. It's the first time I ever watched it, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I had seen it, but watching it, I was like, I've never seen this shit.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, it's good, actually.
And it's kind of brutal.
It's very enjoyable. I liked it a lot. Then I watched the Michael Jackson documentary, Leaving Neverland.
Okay.
Michael Jackson's fucked up. I don't got nothing else to say about that. That's a crazy documentary. Then I watched a documentary called Class Action Park, which is about a 1980s amusement park in New Jersey. Oh, we gotta move the mouse. Well, you might have to move the mouse a lot because the signal might be kind of move it closer to the.
What are we doing here? We're gonna try this.
There we go. Right, it's about a 1980s amusement park where it was just like no rules and crazy shit, and they built like loop-de-loop water slides and all kinds of shit like that, and people were dying and stuff. Damn. It's wild. It's a good doc though.
Can we mouse? Can we? Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah.
We can mouse sometime. It's cool. All right. What have you been watching? Anything of note?
I have been watching the Disney stuff. I kind of have this bad habit. I don't know if it's a bad habit per se, if it's just a habit. of just rewatching Disney movies that even aren't on the list.
Yeah.
Because they just always kind of hit. They're also very good background noise.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll be reading something, or I'll be playing like Clash of Clans or something, and I'll throw a Disney movie on the background. I'm still watching Scooby-Doo. I have expanded that upon. I watched the original Scooby-Doo. I'm also watching the second Scooby-Doo show, and then the Scrappy and Scooby-Doo show.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's actually that riveting. One, I'm just biased.
And Scooby-Doo.
Two, that's a part of my childhood that I like. It's nice to relive. I've actually decided to start a new show. I haven't decided what I want to watch, so if you guys have suggestions, let me know. I need something new to watch at night, just because I'm.
Bro, just boot up HBO Max, bro. There's banger shows.
There's so much
watch
HBO Max.
Euphoria, really good.
That's what Zendaya is.
Zendaya. It was produced by Drake.
I do still want to watch that. What's the movie with her and John David Washington? We need to watch that.
Oh, that's I know exactly what you're talking about. But
we need to watch that.
I can't think of it. Malcolm and Marie.
Other than that,
Malcolm and Marie.
I'm not as much of a watcher.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a gamer. I play a lot of Apex. But like I said, if you have suggestions, give me something to watch. I'm pretty open to watching just about anything. So yeah.
Cool. All right, and we got one reader mail question. You can write into synceduppod@gmail.com or the reader's mail submissions tab of the Discord, just like Lucas did and got his question right on the show. He said, what are some more interesting uses of time travel in movies? I just watched Men in Black 3. It blew my mind.
Oh, this is you. This is a you question.
Tenet.
I was thinking the same thing.
Tenet is fucking awesome. I mean, it's like that movie's fucking great.
If you haven't watched Tenet by now, bro, you
gotta watch Tenet.
What are you doing?
Tenet has one of the more unique uses of time travel in it. It's not time travel, bro. Just fucking watch Tenet.
The explanation is god tier.
Yeah, just watch Tenet, and then watch Tenet again, and then watch it maybe a third time, and then
watch it in reverse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a different movie. And what else? What else is there? I think I'm trying now. About Time, one of my favorite movies.
You got to put Edge of Tomorrow in there too.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow, of course. About Time, they don't really get too into the nitty gritty of like the consequences and things, but that doesn't really matter. It's all the men in the family can go into dark places, clench their fists, and think about a time and time travel back to it, and it turns into a wonderful romance, sad story about all that. It's great. The Time Traveler's Wife.
Classic. That's
of course,
a classic.
The guy time travels and he doesn't want to, but he keeps time traveling back to his wife, who he meets as a kid. But then she meets him before he had met her, and it's like a whole thing. You get Rachel McAdams. Gotta love Rachel McAdams.
She's so good.
I think a lot of movies in my top. There's another movie in my top 5. I think that has Arrival. Oh. That's not time travel, but that's
skirting the line.
Time is a flat circle type of movie. So it's not really time travel, but it's like time manipulation, I guess you could say. I don't know. I love Arrival. I think it's fantastic.
I also love Arrival.
I think Amy Adams murders this role so well. I think the use of, we're going to do an alien movie, but we're not going to make it about them invading or us fighting them or any weird shit like that. We're going to make it about how do we talk to these fucking guys. And they're not here to kill us. They're here to say, hey, we need your help in the future, so we're here to give you the gift of seeing all of time. It's a whole thing.
I really like the concept of, oh my God, these huge giant aliens are here.
Yeah.
They want to help us.
Yeah.
And I think
you get into some interesting philosophical stuff where she's like, oh, you find out that the Chinese have been communicating with theirs with the game of Mahjong. But if the problem with communicating with the aliens in a game of Mahjong is everything is communicated through someone winning and someone losing, so it's a competition and like so much shit like that. That makes you think about language, communication, and what would happen if this actually happened.
As someone who's not a linguist, the way they explain things in that movie and the way, because that for that movie to make sense, they had to dumb things down.
Yeah.
But the analogies and the symbolism and the way she explains it sometimes, and not even her, sometimes the other characters too, like what's his name, Jeremy Renner.
Yep.
The way he explains things sometimes is very, very collected, and it makes sense. You can watch a movie as someone who's not into stuff like that and be like, oh wow.
The narration, cool. The cinematography, everything just hits, just all of it, all the explanations, everything is so great.
And the way they do that chronological storytelling of where it's
where it seems chronological,
but it's
not. Yeah,
you're behind, but you feel like you're ahead.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So if you haven't seen that movie,
no, you're ahead, but you're behind.
You're behind.
Wait. You feel like you're behind, but you're actually ahead because you think you're in a flashback, but you're in a flash. Yeah, exactly.
So if you haven't seen that movie, go watch that.
It's great.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. And that's it for Reader Mail. We do got a couple of things coming out this week. Reminiscence. That's the weird movie with Hugh Jackman. I don't know what it's about, but it looks weird. It comes out on Friday.
Bro, you gotta watch it.
Paw Patrol, the movie, comes out on Friday. I guess Kim Kardashian in it, so
I'll watch it.
texture. And then Cryptozoo, a movie that I watched at the Sundance Film Festival. Very weird art style, but actually a decent movie.
That's the movie with it's like the
Michael Cera in it. Yeah, it was like
okay.
super weirdly animated.
I only saw one scene for that movie. I saw the scene where they were climbing a fence. That's all.
Got some Michael Cera in it for like 5 minutes. It's such a weird thing. But I don't know. And that's it for the movie pod this week. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Synced Up Filmcast. Again, subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, do all that stuff. Consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/syncedUp. And if not, we still like you for watching. But we'll see you guys next week. You should go ahead and get ready to click that because the mouse is going to be finicky.
No, I got it right here.
And peace out.
Peace.
Well, you gotta click.